Dave Pierce, Director of Strategic Initiatives at GPS Capital Markets. Dave, great to have you on the show. How should one be positioned ahead of those numbers?
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is to really listen to the Fed. There's been so many people that have been trying to outguess the Fed and guess what's going on with it. And if you look at what's been going on the last couple of years, the Fed has been very direct and it's been very open in what it's saying it's going to do. And if you look at the U.S. economy, been very, very strong. I have a hard time betting against the U.S. economy right now because it has been overcoming all of the interest rate hikes and all of the different things that have been happening in the world. So hard to bet against that right now.
What does it mean for the dollar, though? Because the dollar has been strengthening this year as rate cuts have been pushed out.
Yep.
Will that ultimately be a danger to corporate profits and to exports?
Two different questions. And I think that we still see a strong dollar. I think that that's something that everybody really expects in the near future. And when you talk about corporate profits, it depends on where you're at in the world. If you talk about U.S. corporations, then it means probably more difficult sales because their products are more expensive.
Right. Let's talk about the euro dollar at 108.49. Not a whole lot of movement here on the day, but we had an analyst on the show a couple days ago saying that, look, it would make sense for the ECB to cut before the Fed, even though that would go against conventional wisdom. Should the ECB do that given the state of the European economy?
Yes. That's my short answer.
Will they do it?
Whether they do it or not, I don't know. I think that they should, especially if you look at like Germany, their economy is struggling, and you know their car sales are down, and there's a lot more struggle there versus what's going on in the United States. So I think that they should do a cut before the U.S. does. They need it.
All right, let's see if that actually happens. Let's talk about the BOJ as well. Going through all the major currencies here, obviously 150, that's been prone to jawboning by the BOJ.
Yep.
The BOJ really facing a quandary here because it wants to hike rates, but it can't really do that in an economy that's still struggling. What's the outlook here?
It's kind of grim. You know, for 20 years they've been basically at 0% rates. I mean, they don't have anywhere to cut. They don't have, and if they increase rates, it's painful for them as well. They're just in a tough situation. It's an aging economy. Aging population there, and so it makes it difficult for them to still compete. They want to be a manufacturing country still, but they aren't. They don't have the population and the youth to be able to do that. So most of that's got to be outsourced, and I don't think that they have made quite the transition to being a completely tech country as well.
All right, finally, I've got to ask you about Bitcoin because Bitcoin topping $60,000 on course for its biggest monthly gain in more than 3 years, within a range of a record high. Has Bitcoin, has cryptocurrencies, that space, has it rehabilitated itself?
Well, it sure feels like it, doesn't it? I know that my crypto accounts are up, so that's been a good thing. Crypto is an interesting world, and we've got a lot more information about AI right now. That's kind of the hot topic. But crypto is one of those things that really is a speculative investment right now, and it really needs to find a way to become a legitimate-sized business. And I think that when you start looking at some of the different industries like accounting and stuff that can use the whole blockchain technology, I think if you think more about blockchain than the actual cryptocurrencies and the underlying uses of that, that's where we see the big movement in the cryptos, is when we start seeing a true usage of that.
David, great to have you on the show. Really appreciate it. David Pierce, Director of Strategic Initiatives at GPS Capital Markets.